Hello, my yogi friends. My name is Natasha. Welcome to a creative sequence yoga flow. We are going to start on our back today. You might want to grab a yoga block for a couple of the shapes. We have a reverse moon, half moon, baby grasshopper, and pyramid. If you have tight hamstrings, maybe grab some blocks. If not, you can also do floating poses without being able to touch the ground, or bend the knees. Make the modifications you need to make the poses work in your body. There's really no right or wrong in yoga. It's all about intuitive moving, exploring the shapes with the breath, and moving in ways that feel good for you. A little bit of discomfort is okay, but we should never feel pain. Back off immediately. All right, let's come onto our backs. We'll start with some deep breathing. We'll go into a little bit of core and glute work, and then we'll start our flow in a standing mountain to chair pose. Meet me on your back. You can start with your feet a little bit wide and let your knees cave in. Pull your chin upward so you're on the very back of your skull. You can bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Allow the earth to support you as you drop in. Get heavy on your mat. Release any tension in the face, forehead, eyebrows, the jaw, the tongue. Connecting your feet on the mat, your sacrum, shoulders, elbows, and again the back of the skull, just heavy. Let go of any distractions around you or inside your mind. Try to stay focused on each moment, how you're feeling, how the breath is moving. And with that, let's take some deep breaths. Inhale through the nose. Sigh out the mouth. Imagine that hot breath fogging a mirror. Inhale, expand like a balloon. Belly sides and back, filling, and then sigh out that hot breath. Then doing the same thing with a closed mouth. Exhaling through your nose, if you can, if your nose is clear today. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Feel that vibration on the back of the throat. Listen to the audible sound of the wind or the ocean as you push that stale air out of the body. Shrink into the core muscles as you pull everything in, and then expand on your inhales. And a few just mindful breaths like that. You can count to 4, or just a feeling of matching the inhale to the exhale. Let's lift our arms over the shoulders, and our feet are going to flow into the air, and we're going to flex and point. Fingers, good, and toes, wrists and ankles, flex and point. Start to glue your low back into the ground, engaging the core. Make a tight fist with the hands. Circle your wrists outside and your ankles. Reverse directions, circle inside, and then blink your fingers and bounce your knees. And just try to go fast here. Fast with those flicks. Faster, faster, faster. Waking up the forearms, softening into those hips. And you can kind of just shake everything out. Flick, bounce, swim. And let's go ahead and give ourselves a nice big hug, pulling the knees into the chest, compression. Then grab onto your shins, tuck your chin, and curl yourself into a tight little ball. Good. Now, shoulder blades off the mat. Can you let go of your hands? Keep your knees connected. Push your hands up towards the sky. Big core crunch, compression. 3, 2, 1. Grab a hold of the outside top of the feet. Drop into happy baby. Chin up, rock on the spine if that feels good. A little massage there. Work on pressing your hands into your feet, feet into your hands, compressing your shoulders and tailbone to the ground. And breathe. All right. right, we're going to take some rocking side to side. Go ahead and bring your elbows to cactus and just sway your knees over. You can keep your feet low. You can even ground your feet and do some windshield wipers first. And then maybe a tabletop. We're going to start with a little core exercise sequence that I've been doing in my classes. So let's go ahead and bring our hands to a T. We don't have a lot of room, so just listen to the cues. We're going to drop our legs to the right. If you want to make it harder, straight legs, easier, bend the knees. Then up to the sky, and move your hands towards the front of you by your hips. Press into those elbows and fingers, and just do a little reverse curl lift. Roll down with care. And then we're rocking into a low boat to start. Just rounding into the low back, shoulders off the mat, looking at your toes out ahead of you. And then reset your hands and head down, arms to a T. Now our legs go left, shoulders stay down. Use the core to squeeze up. Exhale. Hands in front of you, press into the shoulders, elbows, palms. Only go as high as it feels safe and you're not compromising your neck. Use your core to roll each vertebrae down and then curl up to low boat. Let's do it again. Hands to your T. We're going to drop the legs to the right. Straighter is harder. Exhale, lift up. Bring your hands by your hips onto the mat in front of you. Reverse curl to where it feels safe for your neck. Just to your shoulders. Exhale, sweep. This time, let's rock and roll up to a lifted boat. If your hamstrings are tight, you can bend the knees, or maybe your core is not ready for a full lift. And roll it back down. Legs go left, shoulders stay down. Exhale to lift using your obliques. Hands in front, reverse curl, hip lift, little plow. And slow release, and then rock up to boat pose. Beautiful job, squeezing into the belly. Back to your low boat, and we're going to work on a split. Grab your right leg, drop into your head. All right, you can keep your head down and you can keep your knees bent. Press into your hamstrings and your hamstrings back into your hand. Then curl your chin back off and scissor your left leg off the mat. Let go if you can, then step on your left foot and reverse into a little glute bridge. Your arms can rest stacked over your head. Squeeze your leg up, engaging your quad and your hip flexor, and then that bottom leg, the hamstrings and the glutes. Roll down, switch legs. Drop the right leg, press into your left hamstrings, press, and then push back with your hands. Give that feedback with your leg into your hands. Take a breath. Exhale, curl your chin and shoulders forward, and then lift your bottom leg up. Let go if you can, maintaining the position. Bend your right knee, step on it. Hands over the head and zip up. Glutes on, hips thrusting upward and holding it there. Nice, strong, active legs. Chin away from chest, roll down. One more set a little quicker. Grab into your split. Curl forward, let go, split the legs, step on the left foot and reach up to one-legged bridge, arms stack over the head. Roll down, switch legs, grab your left hamstring, stretch long, inhale, curl it up, exhale, let it go, split. Step on the right foot, reach overhead and zip off to that lifted bridge, squeeze. Roll down, and we're going to take both legs up and rock yourself back to boat. Beautiful. All right, press your feet into the ground. If you can get into Malasana with no hands, meet me there. Most of you might need to press into your hands. And then explore Malasana, rocking heels and toes, knees side to side. And while you're here, let's put fingertips down. Just preparing toes, wrists, ankles. Take your fingers backwards. Press down into the palms. See if you can lower to your heels and toes. It's okay if you can't do some of the things I'm cueing. You're just going to explore and go where you can go. All right, you can pry your elbows apart, pull your chest forward. We're going to do some swinging Forgot what it's called. Swinging into crab reach, what we call it in animal flow at least. First, you can do a couple of wrist circles to prepare. We're gonna swing our right fingers backwards and lift your hips. You can just try to push up through the chest, press down into those bottom fingers, and then curl back in. So it's early in class, you're just gonna see how your body feels. Start small and then get bigger and bigger. Swivel your left fingers back and then lift your hips. Push down into that shoulder and fingertips. Frame the face with your top right hand. Squeeze your hips and glutes up. Doesn't have to be a big back bend where we get that nice stretch in the front body. And then see if you can sweep it side to side. It might be gentler to pop up onto your tippy toes. Push forward, pop onto your toes. Take a breath and come on back. All right, from here, we're gonna dip into a forward fold. It might be more like a mini down dog if your hamstrings are tight. We wanna lean into the hands and drop your head. So knees can be bent, but I want you to try to push all 10 fingers, heel of the palm down, shoulders pressing up by the ears, core is active, and then shrink it back into Malasana. If you need a moment to rest your hip flexors, sit and windshield wiper your hips side to side. We're gonna do one crab reach, sweep into that forward fold, which is essentially a prep for a handstand press that maybe you are working on or have your sights on for the future. Here we go. Pop it back into that Malasana. Swinging right hand back, reach far and lift your hips. Crab reach. Now push off the back hand, both hands in front, lift your hips, drop your head, lean into those hands, strong shoulders, strong core. Drop it back in. Malasana, left hand back, crab reach on toes or heels. Swing forward, both hands down, hips up. Try to straighten your elbows even if your knees are bent. And one more time. In between, you could counter stretch. Put the top of the hands down and wiggle those fingers or shake them out. All right. Swing back, right hand down, crab reach. Swing forward, both hands down, prep. Press, prep. And Malasana, left hand back, crab reach. Breathe. Sweep forward, both hands down, forward fold. All right, stay here. Walk your feet under your hips and then hang in a ragdoll. Grab your opposite elbow, sway, bend, straighten, shake your head, yes, no. Find gravity. Your head is gonna feel heavier. Lean into those toes, rock into the heels. Imagine any tension falling out the top of the head. Drop your hands and we'll ragdoll up by softening the knees and stacking your vertebrae one over the next, and your head will come up last. Whew. Give everything a nice little shake out. All right, one more thing before we get started. We'll do some chest expansion. Wrap your hands behind your back. See if you can lace your fingers, and it's okay if you can't quite get there. You could also maybe grab onto your opposite wrist or loosen up, just fingers grabbing, whatever you can do here for a chest expansion. If you combine, squeeze your shoulder blades. Good. Widen your feet, maybe shoulder width apart, and we're going to drop it back to the fold. This time opening up our chest and our shoulders. Head hanging heavy. Some of us might not be able to get those hands very high, so you're just gonna work on that. Squeezing your shoulder blades together will give you more space, and if you feel good there, drop your right shoulder towards right knee. Bend your right knee, and then look up. Your hands fall to the right. Center, and we'll do the other way. Bend your left knee, left shoulder towards left knee, gently squeezing your arms up and to the left. And then release your hands back down. Ooh. Shimmy those shoulders out, shake the head. And one more time through that ragdoll, soften the knees, and we'll zip right on up to to standing mountain pose. All right, if you need a quick sip of water, our flow one starts here. We are in mountain pose, and we are going into a twisting chair. If your twists are not quite ready, instead of trying to hook your elbow across your thigh, bring your elbow in between your knees and kind of hold your legs together for that shelf of your elbow. That's a perfect modification for a deeper twist there. All right, let's find Tadasana. Your feet can be hip distance or maybe right away they're touching. Tailbone tucked. Inhale to a back bend. Press into your toes, lift your hips, heart up, squeeze your glutes. Exhale, chair pose. Bring your palms into heart center. All right, we're going to turn to the right. So our left elbow is going to come to that midpoint of your legs, like I said, or hook across, and palms try to press towards the midline, thumbs to heart center. Here, we're going to balance on our right foot, tap your left toe back, and if you can, we're going to lift that left leg off the ground. It's going to get wobbly here. Here's a little reverse half moon. Push that heel back. Opposite, we're going to half moon. A block if you like. Open up to the left. Right hand down on the block or just hovering above the mat. You don't have to worry about reaching towards the ground. Take a breath here, flexing out, tucking your tailbone, stacking ribs, hips, shoulders. Now, we're going back and forth. We're going to twist in a low lunge. Pull your back left toe far to the back of the mat. Left hand frames the right foot and the right arm lifts. Twisting lunge. So you're lined up here with your fingers and toes, and we're trying to get a nice twist. And on this first one, we're going to rest that back knee down. Swivel your left toes a little bit towards the right, and let's just circle that arm and drop your ear heavy. Can you bring your hand to the base of your skull and pull your elbow up? And then sweep your hand to the small of the back. Whew. Connect to the breath. From here, both hands inside the right foot. Swivel your left toes to the left. Bend your left knee. Skandasana, reach. Our head will fall between our hands. Our bodies turn. So now we're facing the left side of our mat. Left toes to the left, and your right foot can still be somewhat forward here. Side lunge. Take a breath. And then we're going to pull our hands onto the shelf of our left thigh. Flex your right toes, Skandasana. Taking this stacked palm position, turn your right toes forward and switch hands. Or switch hands on your leg. So your right leg, your hands on your right leg now, your quad. Keep that right hand connected. Balance, lift your left leg, and reach for the outside pinky toe edge of that left foot. Here is a stag leg dancer. You're going to push down into your right thigh and lift your left toes. Gaze ahead at something that's not moving. Connect to the breath. Puff the chest, maybe raise the gaze. All right, moving on. Shiva. Connect your back knee into your front knee. Little squat. And here we're going into a baby grasshopper. That might not work for you, so feel free to modify it by grabbing a block. Bring your left hand onto your block and then kick your left leg towards the right. Try to come down either to seated or to baby grasshopper, where you grab your pinky toe edge of the foot, you pull your shoulders forward and your hips are to the back of the mat, and come down at any point if you need to sit. So you can also come into it from seated. Bringing your arm in front of your right knee, grab your pinky toe edge, rocking your shoulders forward in the counterbalance will maybe allow your hips to lift off the mat. All right, so any shape here, baby grasshopper. And then we're gonna try to lift our hips up. I'm struggling with space here. Lift your hips, drag your left foot to the back of the mat, turn all 10 toes to the right, and drop your left hip on the mat. Here's lounging lizard. So first time through might be a little confusing. Stick with it. We'll get more comfortable with the flow. From lounging lizard, arc the side body into a rainbow and try to bring your right fingers towards your left fingers. And it's okay to pull your hips, your right hip a little forward to make that connection. And then stack. 2 more. Arc the body. Step onto the right foot and see if your fingers can find each other. And sink. On this one, we'll add on. Last shape. Take your arm up and over, lift the hips, bring your fingers to meet, then turn your toes forward, step out to a pyramid position, and reach your right hand back towards that left leg, wherever you can. And if you can't reach, that's okay too. Take a breath in this pyramid, reach, bend the knees if you need to. Swivel your left hip forward, your right hip back. We can change the hand position to traditional, just bringing your hands to frame your front foot. Your feet are about 2 to 3 feet apart. Your hips are square, your head's falling heavy with gravity. Take a breath, and let's move into vinyasa so we can repeat that. Plant your hands on the mat, walk back to high plank. Tone your shoulders, your core for chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. You're going to pull your toes back and your heart through, up dog, or maybe you just want a cobra for now. And exhale, downward facing dog. Shake out your head, pedal into those feet, sway your hips. You can walk forward, or if you like to practice that jump, bend your knees, pull your hips back, look forward. You can bounce a couple times, bending and straightening, shifting into the fingers and back to the toes. And when you're ready for that explosive jump, hips up, feet towards thumbs. Try to slow the legs by pushing into your hands, activating your shoulders and your core, and you find yourself in this forward fold, Uttanasana. Let's take a halfway lift with flight arms. Use the core. Press into those toes. And then release, collapsing and ragdoll up to Tadasana, mountain pose. We are back at the top of the flow. We're going to do that on the other side. Shake out, shimmy, circle your shoulders, your hips, a little neck release. Sip of water whenever you need to. You also have that pause button that you can hit if you ever do need more time. All right. I think I'll ditch the socks so I don't slide around. All right, moving into your flow. Same flow, then we'll do it a little faster and add on to it. Feet under your hips, or maybe start with your feet touching so your chair's a little bit easier. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, palms heart center, sit in your chair. Pull the belly in. Twisting chair, right elbow inside the space between your legs, that little shelf you've created, or around the left thigh, stacking your shoulders, pulling your thumbs to that midline. You're going to float off your right foot, maybe tap it back, and then try to lift it. Your gaze points can be sideways, down is probably easiest, or up makes it even more challenging. Squeeze the belly, flex out those back toes, hamstring and glute on. Just do the best you can, it might be wobbly. Then open up to the right in a half moon, either floating on fingertips or you could grab onto a block. Flex out those back toes, little pelvic tilt, lengthening your limbs in all directions. Now moving into twisting lunge. Step back, right hand by left toes, side by side, and left arm lifts. Breathe as you stack the shoulders into your twist again. When you're ready, you can drop that back knee down. You could take the toes a little off to the right to give you even more space and make a couple big shoulder circles. Then bring the palm to the base of the skull and continue to twist, maybe to the knife edge of the left foot. And sweep that hand to the base of the back, that small of the back sacrum area. Still twisting, pressing into those spaces for some leverage. All right, both hands down. We're going to turn our right Back toes to the right, bend your right knee. Skandasana with a reaching arms to the front. Drop your head in between your biceps. Flex, point, explore that left hamstring that's getting a big stretch. Skandasana, pull, slide your hands to the right quad. Side lunging Skandasana, and you can flex those left toes here. All right, lengthen the spine, sit your hips behind the knee, and we'll transfer these hands to the front thigh, turning your left toes forward, transfer your hands. All right, we're gonna balance on the left foot, hamstring curl the right leg, leave your left hand down, pinky toe edge grip with the right hand on the right foot, and then start to kick into your stag leg, bent knee dancer. So keep that bottom knee bent and then reach those toes up. Gaze ahead. Maybe pull the heart a little closer forward to the top of your mat. Now as you let go, Shiva squat, little curtsy squat. And we'll try to make it down to baby grasshopper. Maybe right hand on a block will be easier, or reach for the ground. You can try to grab the pinky toe edge of your foot and come into grasshopper from standing. If that doesn't work, maybe slide to sitting and try to grab the foot, swing your shoulders forward and your hips up. A lot of ways to get into it. And maybe it's not there in your practice today, that's okay too. Right, start to lift the hips and swing that right foot to the back of the mat. All 10 toes are gonna turn to the left and you're dropping onto your right hip. Lounging lizard, the right shoulder can sink. If it's too challenging, more space makes it easier. Walk your right hand further away from your body. That'll give you more space. Making that rainbow arc. Stepping on your left foot, side body, reach your fingers towards your fingers. Left towards right, and sit in your lounging. Let it go. Again, hips up, rainbow arc. And let it go. This one we will add on that pyramid reach. Lift into that kind of side plank rainbow. Turn your feet forward, hop your back foot into the 45. And reach that left arm through. If you can grab your ankle, your foot, back of your knee, drop your head, swivel your right hip forward and your left hip back. Let your upper body and your head get heavy. And then you can just swing your hands to frame your front foot. Maybe wiggle your foot closer to the middle of your mat as you fall heavier into that big hamstring stretch. Core is gently engaging as you find a little more space to lengthen your heart. Now bring your hands down, even if you need to bend the knees, and then walk back to high plank. Let's do a couple chaturangas just for fun. 3, press it up. 2, elbows back. 1, upward facing dog. And a little child's pose. Exhale. Okay, a couple of deep breaths into the back. If you like child's pose, stay. Or if you feel better just up, kneeling, taking a few soft breaths, and a good time to stretch out your wrists. You can take the back of your hands on your thighs and just open and close those fingers. You can also just take a small meditation, connect back in with the breath. We are going to do that flow again. We're going to move quicker, no stopping, no lingering to stretch, just flowing it out, and then adding the second half of the class. The second half is mostly everything will be down on the mat except for a high lunge. All right, if you're working on jumping forward or handstanding to hop forward, you have the option to practice that now. If you just want to walk up and meet us in Tadasana Mountain Pose, that's another option. So if you are trying to jump or you like to come into a down dog again, meet me here. Maybe you want to try to catch a little handstand tuck. Pressing your finger into your fingers as brakes, and then pulling your feet towards your thumbs. Drop in. You can always counter stretch your wrists. Shimmy out. Halfway lift, flight arms. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And reach back, collapse into your fold, and ragdoll up. Are we ready? Meet me in mountain pose, and we'll go into that chair, twisting to the right, reverse to half moon, twisting lunge, and so on. Here we go. Find your strong mountain. Feet probably touching will be easiest. Tuck your tailbone, lengthen your head to sky. Inhale, standing back bend. Exhale, hands in, squat. Left elbow hooks across right thigh or to the middle. And when you're ready, try to find that moment where you can swing that left foot back and up. Reverse half moon to half moon. Switch sides. Twisting lunge. Drop your left foot and left hand. Reach up through your right hand. Skandasana, reach both hands inside foot, turn your left knee and toes to the left, drop in, Skandasana. Swing your hands to your thigh, and swing your hands to your front thigh. Turn your toes forward. Leave your right hand on your thigh. Reach for top grip on your pinky toe edge or stag leg dancer. Reach those toes as high as you can. Shiva squat. Pull your knees to curtsy and move through any variation of that baby grasshopper. Lifting out of it, swing your left foot to the back of the mat and all 10 toes to the right, left hip melts. Lounging lizard, rainbow arc. Fingers to fingers and sink. Lounging lizard and rainbow arc. This time we'll step forward. Pyramid reach, right hand towards left ankle or whatever you can reach for. And we're going to drop our left knee onto the mat, meeting in a low lunge. All right, crawl your right foot a little further away for a sinking low lunge. Start by stacking your hips, pelvic tilt, inhale. Exhale, low lunge, back bend, cactus elbows, melting back hip. Maybe knee over toes, half split. Shift your hips back, flex your front toes. Tuck your back toes under if they're not, because we're going right into high crescent lunge. Bring it back onto the right front foot and rise. Option to back bend here. And through your half split, lower and shift back. Of course, if you have a deeper practice and want to go ahead and try to find a deeper split, you have that option. Be safe, listen to your body, and come on back to half split. Sweeping your right leg to the right, left arm to the left for modified side plank. All right, I'm going to come to a diagonal because I don't have space, but you're facing the front of your mat. We're going to take our leg and abduct it, and you're going to come into a figure four. Cross your ankle over your left thigh and try to sit on your heel. Stacking, and back and forth, 2 more times. Side sweeping modified side plank. Figure four and sit. Externally rotating that left hip. 1 more time. Sweeping side, modified side plank. And figure four, sit. Now we're going to take this foot over and sit on the side of our our left heel for half forward of the fish. Both sit bones relaxing down, and we'll take a subtle twist to the right, or it could be bigger. Inhale, lengthen, drop that right sit bone. Exhale, twist. Big breath. Beautiful. Coming into a variation of compass. Bring your left pinky finger towards your right pinky toe and wedge your elbow under your knee. This is going to become a backpack strap. You're going to pull that leg on top of the shoulder or at least above the elbow. hugging your leg onto your thigh using your inner thigh strength adductors. Try to hold the leg in place, bring the hands down, lift your hips. All right, so kind of a modified elephant trunk. Option to swing your left leg through. Lift the hips and try to pull that left foot out. All right, you might do this where your leg just drags on the floor and kind of slithers through. All right, but ideally we're going to try to find that hands in, hips up, and then either dragging your leg out or lifting your leg out, and then have a seat. Beautiful. All right, let's bring your foot to the inner thigh for a tree, seated tree. Take a breath here, and we'll sweep our right hand back and lift our hips up. I've heard this called stargazer. And have a seat. Reach for your toes. A little option here, if you have open hips, instead of this tree positioning, go ahead and take a half lotus. Taking your foot to your left hip crease and then reaching forward to your fold while externally rotating the right hip. Take a breath there. You can bring your chin or your forehead to the ground. Oh yeah, just a last little piece of some strength work and options to get upside down. All right, as you lift, step on your right foot towards the right, left hand towards the left, fingers out, and elevate your hips. We're sliding our foot back, our shoulders forward. Meet me in a forearm plank. Your elbows down and then your feet walk back. Squeeze your shoulders, use your core and your quads. And we'll tiptoe forward into dolphin, which is just down dog on the forearms. Your knees can be bent. And here you have some playful options of doing some little hop switches, switch, or if you have pinch up in your practice, maybe you make a couple leg shapes up. Good. Stag is probably the easiest to control since you have that counterbalance of the legs. And when you are ready, come back into forearm plank and lower into Sphinx. All right? Or you could have just been holding dolphin as a nice prep. Take a breath here. We're going to press into puppy pose. So as you tuck your toes, lift your hips and maybe walk your knees a little closer. Lift your tailbone over your knees and try to sink your chest down into the mat. Chin and chest down if you can. If this is too deep, just bring your chest to a block or hover in space. Come back to your forearms, pull those hips to the mat, and you have the opportunity for bow pose. Grab your outside pinky toe edge of the feet, release it down. Feel that big quad hip flexor, and on your next inhale, start to kick up. Any variation of bow. As you let go, bring your right knee out in frog. All right, we're gonna take a cobra in your half frog, which we did in our last class. We're gonna do something a little different. Breathe here, drop your left hip. Now your left hand is gonna cross under, put a little weight on that shoulder as your left ear falls. And then press your palms on top of each other and start to just push your shoulders away from your hands. And then our right arm will lift and we'll face the sky, opening up our chest to a spinal twist. So if you want to keep your knee down, maybe your shoulder floats, or if you get your shoulder down, maybe your knee floats, or maybe you can keep both connected to the earth and get a deep, deep twist there. Your heart and your face is now looking up at the sky. All right, and finally, on the way back, straighten out your legs so they're side by side. Pull that right elbow down, and then your right arm is going to cross as well. You have both shoulders internally rotating, And you're going to try to relax your forehead to the ground. This is called shoelace pose. Take a breath there. Beautiful job. That is our flow for the day. Let's slide our hands by our chest. Inhale to upward facing. And exhale to downward facing dog. Relax head, neck, shoulders pushing. Hips can swivel. And any way you want to get up to the top. Again, if you're working on handstands, maybe trying to catch a moment at the top of a handstand, a tuck, a float, or a jump forward. Meaning in forward fold, Uttanasana. You might step on your hands, gorilla pose if you just did hold a handstand, or you just need that extra release in the wrists. Then we'll come into a halfway lift. Flight arms back, engage the core, collapse, Uttanasana, ragdoll your way up. Standing mountain. All right, give everything a nice little shake, a great place for a sip of water. We did the whole entire class. We are going to do that one more time. We've seen it all, so we might move a little bit quicker. Are you ready? Any wrist, neck, shoulders, maybe vibration bounces. I always like to do that. Getting everything moving, bouncing, and coming back to your mountain. Let's do this. Stand tall and proud. Inhale to your back bend, reach it up and back. Exhale, chair pose, sit back, thumbs to heart. Squeeze the belly and hook your right elbow across or to your inner thighs. When you have that good moment, sweep the right toes back and then try to lift. Reverse half moon to half moon, open to the right. Stack your shoulders, ribs, and hips. Flex out those back toes. Now drop into twisting lunge. Right hand by left foot, open up. Skandasana, reach both hands inside, side by side. Turn your right toes and right knee, bend it, and reach your arms, drop your head. Skandasana, right knee to the right. Move your hands to the right thigh, flatten out your back. And then turn your left toes forward, switch your hands, left hand on left thigh, right hand on top. Balancing into your dancer, stag leg dancer. Kick your toes up, shine your heart forward, keep your bottom knee bent. Shiva, connect your knees. Curtsy. And baby grasshopper, if you can get there. Heart forward, hips back. Swinging the right foot, lift the hips, step back, turn all toes to the left, lounging lizard. Big rainbow arc, fingers to fingers. Back toe lift, but back toes down, and then side of the foot down. Lounging lizard, and that big arc. Turn your feet forward, hop it forward, reach your left hand to your right ankle for pyramid. Reach. Head is heavy. Hands frame the front foot as you drop onto the back knee for low lunge. All right, you can circle out your wrists while you're here. You can also walk your left foot forward. Sinking low lunge, first stack and pelvic tilt, then melt, exhale. Fingers frame front left toes, flex and straighten left knee. Half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. Quad can engage, left hip swivels back, then tuck your back toes, float into high crescent. Maybe that back bends again. Low lunge to half split, or if you want to sweep into a deeper split, it could be up here or finding your depth. No force. Connect to the breath. Soften something. And then slowly make your way back to the half split. Sweeping into a modified side plank. Right hand to the right and the left foot goes to the left. You're facing the front of your mat, but just for space reasons, I'm gonna go diagonal. Lift your left leg into abduction. Use your outer thigh. Now figure 4. Bring your ankle over your right thigh. You can release those back toes and try to sit. You might sit right on your heel. Back to your side plank abduction. Modified on the knee. Crossing figure 4. If you can't sit, you can just hover and just allow the figure 4 knee and hip to rotate to the side one more time. Open up into that kneeling side plank and come into your figure 4. You might be hovering or you're coming down to seated. Now this left foot is going to cross over and we're going to move our heel out of the way. Our sit bones land in between your right heel and your right hip. Lengthen your spine, inhale, and then start to twist wherever you want to take this. Lengthen, inhale, pull the belly in, exhale, twist. You have 2 points of leverage, your backhand and maybe your forearm, your elbow or above the elbow, your triceps. Beautiful. All right, here's where we're gonna try that compass leg to that optional arm balance elephant trunk. You're going to take your, let's cross it. Right pinky toe finger to right pinky toe. You're gonna take your elbow and hook it under. All right, you wanna wedge that leg over. You can grab the ankle and try to pull your leg over your shoulder or at least above your elbow. Picture a backpack strap. Now your inner thigh strength needs to take over to keep that leg connected. Pull your hands down, lift your hips. The right foot never has to lead unless you can, and then you can pull it through or just drag it through. Find your elephant trunk and come to seated. If you wanted to continue to work on elephant trunk, you could try it from here. You could try to swing that leg back where it came from and then try to pull it forward again. Then meet me in seated tree. You can shake out those wrists. Inhale, arms up, maybe circle it here. Stargazer, left hand behind or diagonal from your hip and lift those hips. Little kneeling wild thing or stargazer. And come back through seated. Reach it up and we'll try to reach for those right toes. And remember, you have the option to take your left foot and bring it up on the right hip crease for a half lotus. And then see if you can fold. Now if you have tight hips, this might not feel great on your ankle or your knee, so you are going to be the judge. You can definitely stay in the tree where your foot is on the ground, not on the thigh. Take another breath. And lift. Beautiful. Take your left foot to the left side of the mat, right hand, fingers to the right, lift your hips. Sweeping your foot back and your shoulders forward, we're gonna meet in a forearm plank. Bring your left elbow down, right elbow, left foot back, or any way you need to get there. You can hold your plank for a few breaths. You can tiptoe into dolphin for a few breaths, or you can play with any inversion. You can try to come into pincha. Maybe you're working on baby crow on the forearms. Maybe you are working on leg shapes, eagle, lady, hollow back, scorpion, stag, split, so many shapes. Or you are taking a moment in child's pose. You can also come back to your forearm plank and work on core strength there. We are going to do our puppy pose and bow one more time. Squeeze your belly, lower your hips, spine sinks, and then press into your puppy pose from here if you can. Lift your elbows as your heart pulls to the mat, your tailbone lifts to the sky. Pretty
pretty big thoracic and cervical spine bend. So if this doesn't feel good, don't worry about putting your chest and chin down. Whew, and then roll it back to Sphinx. All right, from here, let's do that last little piece, and we did it. Hands by chest, left leg pulls out to a half frog. And then just, where do you want to take this? Where do you want your bend? You could even go for a half, good, up to a half frog, cobra, king cobra, or release. Then we're gonna take from your cobra, take your left hand down and slide your right hand under. Then internally rotate that shoulder and drop your head to the mat. Slide both hands, you could bind them and try to push away, creating space. I just had a nice pop in my back. And when you're ready, your left hand's gonna start to float up and let gravity take over as you open your heart to the ceiling in your spinal twist. So your arms out, hanging in gravity, or you're gonna work on maybe the knee lifts and your shoulders connect, or the knee lands and your shoulders lift, until maybe you can do both. Both shoulders are down and the knee gets to touch the ground. Chin away from the chest, just let gravity help your stretch. Be your assist here. And finally, shoelace pose. Oh, I forgot bow. We're gonna do bow. Take your hips to the ground. Now your left arm, right elbow pushes down, left arm creates space across, and then get heavy again. Try to get your forehead to the ground as your shoulders internally stretch. Breathe. Oof, might be a little uncomfortable. Try to breathe. If it's painful, stop. And finally, sweep your arms out. Find the pinky toe edge of your feet and find your bow. Whew, bring your right ear to the mat, shoulders heavy, feet down, palms up. Feel free to continue to work on anything in your practice. We are pretty open for some deeper back bends. Switch ears if you would like, or our shoulders and core. That's a nice work for any inversion work or arm balances you might be working on. I'm going to leave you here. You can press yourself into upward facing dog and toes meet child's pose. Feel free to linger in a child's pose for a few breaths, and then find a comforting space for Shavasana. Feet up a wall, maybe propping yourself on some blankets or on some blocks. I'm going to leave you to do your meditation on your own today. Take at least 2 minutes, even set a timer, and just meditate. Appreciate all that hard work your mind and body just did for you. Give yourself that moment of gratitude in your day, honoring your body, your hard work. I'm going to leave you here. Please leave me a comment. Let me know if you got through the class. I will be doing a Just the Flow, so look out for that, where we won't break anything down. We'll just flow out part 1, part 2 into one long sequence. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.